Hello, hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome back to my cozy little art studio. Today is a super exciting day because we are doing our very first color along inside my brand new coloring book called Seasons of Whimsy. So here's a peek at what we're doing today. And if this is your first time hearing of my new book, let me give you a little tour. So here is the front and back cover of this book that I illustrated myself, all by hand, no AI. And then let's just take a little peek inside this cute book. And I'll tell you about it while I flip through the pages. So this book is super special because it's different than anything I've ever done before in that it feels kind of like a storybook. The book is divided into the 4 seasons, starting with spring and then summer, fall, and winter. There are a handful of pages at the beginning that celebrate all 4 seasons at once, but then once you hit that trail, the nature trail where it says spring, you'll know you have officially arrived to spring. And then the following pages will be all about spring, and then when you hit the nature trail again that says summer, like this one here, you'll know that you're starting this summer journey, and then it'll be the same for fall, and then lastly we end in winter. And so this is really cool because you get to revisit the same places as they magically change throughout the seasons. I also made sure to include a few characters throughout the seasons because I know those tend to be crowd pleasers, so there are some cute animals. And this book has 41 pages to color, so it'll keep you busy for quite a while. And I can't wait to get started on coloring inside this book with you today. We are going to start in spring because that's what season it is here where I am right now. So I'm really excited to color some spring pages right now. And here's just a last little look at the front of the book at some of the front matter. You've got some tester pages for testing out your colors and techniques, a nameplate page to put your name in, your title page, and there she is, this super cute little book. The first thing I'm going to do is flip to the nameplate page, and I'm going to go ahead and fill mine in and go ahead and put my claim on this copy. All right, let's get set up. Let's go ahead and turn to the cute spring heart page. It's kind of like a taxonomy or a collection of things that made me think of spring, and it's in the shape of an adorable heart. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to tuck a piece of cardboard or chipboard or extra sheets of paper in between my coloring pages. My pages are always single-sided, so yes, you can absolutely use alcohol markers as long as you tuck something under there. And when you buy a printed book from me in my shop, I always include a backing board that you can put behind your pages like that. I love coloring in a mixed media approach, so I will be layering alcohol marker, colored pencil, and then some white ink at the very end. I will also be showing you my color palette here or my swatch sheet in just a second, so if you would like to try to use similar colors, you can screenshot this in just a second here and get as close as possible to the Ohuhu markers that I am using right here. These are the Ohuhu alcohol markers with the brush tip. So here you go. You can go ahead and pause and screenshot if you would like colors similar to this. I will be adding 1 or 2 more, but these are the base colors. So as I get started here on this adorable little ladybug or ladybird, depending on where you live and what you call them, let me just let you know, if you are new to this book, where you can find her if you would like a copy for yourself. So she is available as both a printed signed copy or a full digital download in both my shop, which is theswimmingowlshop.com, or in my Etsy shop, which is The Swimming Owl. You can also get printed copies that are not signed, that are just super fast and easy from Amazon if you'd prefer that as well. So there's multiple ways you can shop for this book. The links are always below in my video description, so they're easy to find. If you like coloring digitally on your iPad in an app like Procreate, the digital download is absolutely perfect for that because I do include the PNG files, which means they have those transparent backgrounds, so you can pull it in and color it easy peasy. You can also then print the PDF off though. If you're not a digital colorer, you can print that PDF off as a full book as well and then print it on paper that you really like. So if you prefer using more wet mediums, or maybe you prefer thicker paper for your alcohol markers, that gives you the flexibility to do that. And then you can print your pages out again and again if you need to. So that digital download is very, very helpful and flexible for people. The only thing I ask is that you please do not distribute that to anyone else other than you or the people in your immediate household. So like your children or a roommate or a loved one that lives with you. That would be my one request. Please don't distribute it anywhere else. Be kind. I'm a small artist and I want to be able to keep delivering those downloads to people because I know they're really helpful. If you have any questions about this adorable new book, Seasons of Whimsy, this cozy 4 seasons coloring book that I did not already answer, feel free to leave them below and I will absolutely get back to you. Okay, let's get back to chatting about the actual coloring that's going on. So I was immediately getting flashbacks as I was starting this coloring page. I was getting flashbacks to last spring or summer-ish when I released Charming Escape and I did that little ice cream cone coloring page, and I picked out some colors that were like really vibrant and bright, and I was immediately like, oh no, these are way too crazy, what have I done? I got the same feeling as I was starting this spring page. My intention was to try to go just a notch above pastel. So I didn't want it to be typical pastels. I wanted it to be punched up just a little bit. But as soon as I put that tulip color on, I was like, oh, yep, overdid it. Shot way past what I was aiming for. But I had to remind myself that I thought the same exact thing last year on that ice cream cone page, and then I ended up being extremely happy with it. I just have to trust my process. I just have to trust myself. So even though it does look a little bit crazy right now, it's going to get so much better. And that is with the help of both layering in more alcohol marker, but also layering colored pencil over the top. So if you are looking at my colors and thinking, girl, this is not working out, just trust and be patient, my friend. I had to do the same thing. By the way, you may occasionally see like a little ghosty over on the left. You may see an extra little hand or art supplies moving, and that's just my daughter. She was home on the day that I filmed this, and she came over and she said, what are you working on? And she saw this and she said, oh, I want to color it too. So she sat next to me or stood next to me and grabbed out some markers and was coloring the same page along with me. So you may occasionally see bits of her over at the edge of the screen. So don't get freaked out if you see an extra hand. I was really excited to color this page because we really are finally stepping into spring here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and life is coming back. There are wrens in my yard again. I just heard them singing yesterday. They are back. I cleaned out their little bird houses a week ago in hopes that they would be back soon, and they are. So I'm super excited about that. And we have grass. We can actually see the grass now. The snow and ice is all gone. So I'm just really feeling it right now. I'm feeling so happy that the weather is turning and we have warmth and sunshine and songbirds and plants coming back. And speaking of cleaning out those birdhouses, I have a cute little story for you that I'm not like a big bird. I don't know a lot of bird facts, let's put it that way. I was cleaning out one of our little birdhouses that I know is generally used by a little bluebird, and when I did that this year, I found a blue jay feather inside the bluebird house, and I know for a fact a blue jay cannot fit in that house. So like I'm wondering, what's the story there? Where did that little bluebird find that blue jay feather? How did it get it and it end up in their little nest? I'm curious, and I'm wondering if it got chased for getting that feather, or if it just got lucky and found it and wanted to use it for a little extra cushioning. It just kind of got my mind wandering there, and I feel like there could be a cute little story there. Also, please bear with me as I fumble over my words or possibly sound a little strange. I guess spring is bringing one last illness our way that's going around the school. My husband is a public school teacher and my kiddo's in school, so I'm exposed to a lot of fun illnesses, and this one is very unique and I'm just now coming down with it. So my brain is a little bit slower and my voice is a little bit crackly with a sore throat, so please bear with me. I've also been pushing myself a little bit harder than normal because of this book release. So there was the big launch and lead up to the book releasing, and then, there's all the marketing that comes after it releases, and then packaging up everyone's orders and wanting to get this first color along done. So it's always such a big rush and so much going on in that week leading up to the book and then the couple of weeks after, as I try to keep the excitement going and keep people interested in wanting the book if they didn't quite get it right away and they were kind of sitting on the fence about it. I try to make a lot of content and keep people excited, and so it can just be a lot for one person to manage all of that. Okay, here's something I wanted to point out that's kind of fun. After putting in the purpley color on these little flowers, now I picked up the blue color and I'm putting that into some of the spaces and the shadows, and these colors layered really nicely together. So the top color is kind of a violet color, and then the bottom was the blue, and it looked really pretty. And then I'm also now using it to put in a little bit more shadow on some areas that have dried. That was one area or one thing that I needed to do a little bit better on this coloring page, was to be a little bit more patient. I tried layering marker too fast, per usual. That's my typical MO. And so it was bleeding outside the lines in a few spots and getting a little bit out of hand. So I did use my colorless blender occasionally to push the color back and sort of erase away the color. It's not actually erasing, so if you're new to markers, just remember that. The colorless blender is not actually an eraser, it's just moving the ink somewhere else. So I kind of pushed it back into the lines where needed. This color is a new one that I picked up. I wanted something a little bit more subtle, so this is Mauve Shadow, I believe. And I'm using that to color the little circles, which in my head are kind of like little seeds, but they don't have to be seeds if you don't want them to be. They could be little sparkles or stars or anything else that your imagination dreams up. Then after I used that to make my little seeds, I used the mauve shadow color for actual shadows because I really love using a blue or a purple to put my shadows in, and this one always layers so nicely. So I didn't include that in the original swatch sheet, but if you have the mauve shadow color from Ohuhu, it's a very helpful color in this page. All right, and it is time to finally layer in some spring greens, which is what really always makes spring feel like it has arrived. So I'm using 3 different greens here, and I'm gonna kind of layer them around and use them in different areas, and kind of put the darker one in for shadows, but I have 2 greens that tend to be my go-to. One is that absinthe color, another one is the moss color from Ohuhu. Anyway, they're the ones on the swatch sheet there, and I tend to use these so much. So if you were ever gonna buy yourself just like single alcohol markers and you wanted greens that always work really nicely for coloring pages, these 3 are probably the ones I grab the most. And every time I grab them, I always feel so bad, like I'm neglecting my other alcohol markers or like not giving them a chance. But man, when you love something, right? Like it's hard. It is hard to go with other colors when you know you can get such incredible results with your favorites. If you use alcohol markers, I'd actually really love to know, do you have a couple of, like a handful of favorites that you are constantly reaching for, even if you have like a large bag of markers sitting there? Do you have ones that are constantly your go-to colors? And if so, let me know what they are below, because if they're different from mine, then maybe that will be some encouragement for me to grab something different and branch out a little bit more this year, because I have a lot to choose from and I should try to spread out the love a little bit. So right now I'm painting these little tiny leaves, and I'm painting them as green leaves, I should say. But I also had the thought that they could be really cute petals, like kind of a cherry blossom petal or any kind of little pinkish petal. So that could be another fun idea for you if you don't want to have so much green. Do them like yellow or pink and make them little petals flying in a little spring breeze. I feel like I could recolor this page over and over again and not get bored, because I feel like there are a lot of different ways you could take so many parts of this page. Like the tulip could be so many different colors, those little eggs could be so many different colors, the little flower blossoms could be different colors. So I kind of almost want to redo this page. Maybe next spring I'll do it again. And I don't think I've already said this in this video, but if you already have your copy of Seasons of Whimsy and there is a specific page you would like to see as a color along, definitely let me know. I am kind of building that list of pages that people are interested in. So far, I've had a request for one of the animals and also for one of the truck scenes. So I do think I will do the spring truck scene next, I think. I feel a little bit challenged by that page because the truck scene shows up in all 4 seasons, and my question to myself is, do I care if the truck is the same color in every season so that it has some continuity and feels like the same truck showing up in each season, or am I going to be okay with changing it to fit the scene a little bit better? Because part of me really likes the storybook feel of making it the same color in each scene so that way it feels like it is continuing on. But that also is really challenging to make the same color work across 4 seasons and feel cohesive to the scene. So I'm trying to decide. If you have a vote or thoughts on that, let me know. Or if you have a thought on what color the truck could be for all 4 seasons, I'd love to hear it. Currently, I think my plan that I had created on my iPad is for the truck to be kind of a mauve color, because I thought that could kind of work across all 4. We'll see. And I'd love to hear your suggestions. Alright, so I'm going to be picking up my colorless blender again, and I'm just going to fix a couple of spots, and so I'm going to show you here how I'm doing that. I am just coloring at the edge where the marker bled over my line art, and I'm just kind of pushing that marker back to the back of the page and then back inside the line a little bit. And this is a very, it's not a perfect fix. It makes it look, makes the mistake look a little bit more subtle. And then after everything kind of dries a little bit, I then also used a white colored pencil and I colored over those spots even more just to kind of lighten it up a little bit more. And I'm back to my mauve shadow color and I'm adding in even more shadows now into all of the spaces that I would like to have a little bit of depth to them. And I just think this marker worked so beautifully on top of this color palette. So here is where I'm going to grab my white Prismacolor Premier colored pencil, and I'll just use this really quickly to kind of lighten up some of those mistakes and make them a little bit less obvious. And this is just super optional. If you don't think that this is necessary when you go outside the lines, then good. I'm glad that you don't let that bother you. You shouldn't. We are here to have fun and relax. It doesn't need to be perfect. Alright, and once these areas are cleaned up just a little bit more, now we are ready to move over to our colored pencil. And at this point, I bounce around a lot and I just layer in lots of new fun color with my colored pencils. I picked things that were sort of similar to my alcohol markers along with a few surprise colors. And the colors that worked the best over this color palette that really made things shine was a yellow, an orange, and then a blue. So those colors layered over the top are the ones that I ended up being extremely happy with the results. This color here also helped add a little bit of vibrancy. It's kind of a pinky purple color. I tend to use this one quite a bit. It definitely adds a nice vibrancy to things, and it also can work for some shadowing without getting like a dull shadow. But you're gonna see soon just how magical layering yellow in over the top of everything felt. It gave a really nice glow, and it almost kind of can look like pollen on things, which is very springy, right? And I also used a light blue for some of my highlight color instead of white, which I was very happy with. I just love how buildable adding colored pencil over the top of alcohol marker is. You can really get playful and experiment a lot with your color here and just keep layering things up. By having that base of alcohol marker down, it just feels really forgiving, and it allows you to put all kinds of color down without it feeling kind of jarring or harsh because there's already a base there. It's not white. You're working off of something that's already been put down. So I always get really, really playful at this stage and layer in a ton of color, and I move really quickly, a little bit chaotically, but also intuitively. So here comes the yellow. Look how that immediately makes that tulip come to life. That was magic. Highly recommend you try that. The yellow also layers so beautifully over any of your greens and immediately feels like a bit of sunlight is touching your leaves. So the yellow on this page, I think, is what really ended up making it. The difference between just the flat alcohol marker versus the colored pencil on top to me is like day and night. It's very hard for me to imagine skipping colored pencil after using some marker. So the colored pencil part is nearly done. I'm just going to kind of add in a little bit of a highlight with my white here onto the flowers in a few different areas. I was a little bit unhappy with how these little blossom flowers turned out, but by adding the white to the edges of the petals, I ended up liking these so much more. So originally I had planned to make those little blue forget-me-not flowers, and then at the last minute I was like, well, what if we go pink instead? And so I think part of me was hanging on to that and kind of regretting it a little bit. Okay, the last thing I'm going to put in here is my Copic Opaque White. So I have a little detail paintbrush here, and I'm just painting in a few speckles of white, a few white highlights, because this is kind of a signature move of mine. It always makes my page feel like it's sparkling and comes to life. So I'm just going to kind of dab this around, and that is the final touch that I will do to this very first page inside Seasons of Whimsy. I am so excited to have released this book and put it out for you guys. I cannot wait to see what you do inside this book, because I know you're going to make some absolute magic. I'm so excited to see it. I'm so excited to keep coloring along with you here on this channel. So if you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed and following along. And if you would, give this video a thumbs up so that way YouTube knows, like, hey, this is a cool one. You should share it with more people, because that really helps me and my channel. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending this creative time with me today. If you colored or worked on something alongside me, I'd love to know below in the comments what you were working on, or were you just sitting and having a little cup of tea while I yapped your ears off and colored? Let me know what you were up to and how we spent our time together today. And like I said, if you get this book and you want to color something specific with me, definitely let me know. Here is how this page turned out. Thank you again for being here. I can't wait to see you again next time. And until then, happy coloring, my friend.